All right, I'm here with 3 of my teachers at Central Middle School, and they are going to be the inner fishbowl for our activity. So you guys are just going to watch them have a discussion and respond to questions that I pose to them. And then after the video, we'll have a chance to debrief. So our first question is, tell me a little bit about your teaching experience and how you learned about UDL and how you were trained.
All right, I started 31 years ago in Indianapolis, worked at Lawrence Township for 8 years, and I've been in BCSC for the last 23 years. And I first learned about UDL through a BCSC initiative, and where they started introducing the concept and the ideas to us through staff meetings and things like that. From there, I've gone to district workshops, I've talked to coworkers, and just learned to expand my own content.
Thank you.
I am in my 4th year teaching. I taught 2 years outside of BCSC, and this is my 2nd year in BCSC. I did not hear about UDL until my interview with BCSC, so it was a new concept for me. I got a kind of crash course at the new teacher training and some different, faculty meetings and things throughout the year. But then this past summer, I was able to go to the week-long institute where I really got a lot of information.
And I am a brand new teacher, but I student taught at Northrop High School in Fort Wayne. I also first heard about UDL in my interview, and as soon as I had the opportunity to sign up for the institute, I jumped on it because I figured if it is something that's brought up in my interview, it's probably pretty important. So then I got to go really in depth as kind of my first big thing with BCSC.
Great. All right, how would you say that UDL has affected your teaching?
I think it's moved me away from the more traditional classroom and out of my comfort zone a little bit more into more of an engaging environment for kids with more choices and opportunities for them.
I'd say definitely in the way I group students. I was a little more traditional in that way too, and now I have my students in pods where they can communicate much more with each other to kind of help gain that understanding and debrief with each other and make sure that they have the content.
Yeah, I have learned to start using a lot of student choice and really putting an emphasis on that, and the learning being on my students' terms rather than on mine.
Great. All right, how would you say, in your experience, how have you seen that UDL has affected your students?
Well, I think that they like the idea that they have choices, and I also think they feel like they can collaborate with their classmates more engaging environment. And then I also think just overall it gives them a consistent framework throughout the whole building that they know when they go from class to class that they can have the same experiences.
Yeah, I think the collaboration is a big piece that I'm seeing. Helps give them confidence since I'm grouping them by, having a variety of ability and, different genders at one group, them being able to talk with each other. They can make sure that they have that information and seem to gain their confidence that they actually have it because they were able to confirm that by the people in their pods.
And on a similar note, I think the confidence also gives the students more voice. So if they don't understand something, they are less afraid to look dumb in front of their classmates and say, hey, we need some help, or get help from their peers.
Wonderful. All right, for this last question, you guys don't have to take turns. Just kind of discuss together and think, brainstorm. What resources do you have available to you to further your implementation of UDL?
Definitely the UDL conference this summer. That was wonderful.
I was able to go to a Kagan workshop that was offered by the district this summer also to get some more understanding and ideas.
Yeah, and anything that if you can't go to those, it's all on BCSC Connect, so you can always look up that stuff. So I've kind of been poking through, or if you did go and forgot some of the stuff, you can still go through and look at that.
Yeah, they give us a lot of digital references, and then we have our UDL facilitators. And then I feel a great amount of administrative support behind this particular concept as well. So,
yeah, faculty meetings and department meetings. So I'm hearing it from the local, like here in our building, and by the departments also.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Lori.
I have Ashley Kimbrell with me now. Ashley is a guidance counselor for the 7th grade here at Central Middle School. And Ashley, I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
First of all, how have you used the UDL facilitator in your role?
Sure. I've used the UDL facilitator in a lot of different ways, mainly being centered around 504 meetings and students who might need referred to testing to see if they have a specific learning disability. That once the teacher either makes a request of me to come and talk about a student, or if I notice something might be of interest of the student myself, that I've called upon Mrs. Lanham last year or Mrs. Ousley this year if I feel that a student needs to be observed in a manner of different settings, and we work together on paperwork, or if we need to do new learning environment designs, that's something that we all talk about together. And if those implemented strategies aren't working, then that gives us a jumping off point to start with, and we can meet and revise if we need to.
Great. And my second question for you, how has UDL implementation affected how you speak with students and families when you're counseling?
Sure. A huge part of my job is student scheduling, and our back to school night that we have in August. We always get a multitude of questions about various things, mainly being the student schedules and how we function at Central in our day-to-day routines. I love the UDL practices because it gives the teachers, myself and my role as the school counselor, a lot of freedom to be able to implement a lot of different strategies, change things and customize things better to meet the needs of our students. So we play a lot to each student's individuality and their learning styles through the UDL practices.
Great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I am here with Chelsea Lanham, the Dean of Students here at Central Middle School. Prior to this year, she had my position. She was the UDL facilitator at Central and Northside Middle Schools. So Chelsea, tell me, how has your background knowledge of UDL affected or shaped your new role as Dean of Students?
Well, Laura, I think that honestly, having a background in UDL has been helpful so far this year because it helps to identify what the origin of some behaviors that I see frequently in my office, what that origin is. Not saying that that means we can fix every single thing, but at least when you know what the origin of the behavior is, then it is the perfect time, or gives you the opportunity that you can step in and actually try to do something about what's causing the behaviors from the beginning.
You have already reached out to me as the UDL facilitator in my new role this year. So can you just summarize and explain why you reached out to me and what we did?
Yes, I can. So I have a student that has been down here multiple times, has been asked to leave class multiple times. And so given the background that I have with Universal Design for Learning, I thought that would be a great opportunity for you to step into that classroom and to do an observation, complete a learning environment design form, and see if there are any areas within the UDL framework that maybe could be beefed up, so to speak, so that the teacher then would have some more tools to address the student in the learning environment rather than having to continually have the student leave the classroom. And so it was my hope that after those observations, we find a lot of times with students, and when I was the UDL facilitator, I would find a lot of times that there are little things that you can add into your environment on a daily basis, a checklist, for example, or a timer, things that are just really small that can be very helpful for students. And so by doing the observation with you and you filling out that learning environment design form, I was hoping that maybe we would have some of those little strategies that could be helpful so that we can stop or prevent the behavior before it even starts.
Great. Thank you so much, Chelsea. I know you're very busy. All right, I have Beth Finke here, our speech language pathologist at Central Middle School and many other schools, but she's also here at Central. So Beth, I have a couple of questions for you. First up, what has your UDL journey been like?
Well, for me, the UDL journey's been a little different. As a therapist, we are kind of taught in the way that of UDL practices. So we use a lot of scaffolding, we use a lot of differentiation, we use a lot of those things in our daily practices and always have. The difference for me was learning the definitions and the framework and then just adjusting to the new vocabulary itself and trying to fit my practices into that vocabulary and making that make sense.
Okay, so how would you say, since you're in a unique position, you work with a lot of students from a lot of teachers' classrooms, so From your observation, how do you think UDL being implemented has affected your kids?
I feel like UDL has made their life easier as well as my life because we're all on the same page, using the same framework. Even though I had used it previously just with different vocabulary, it makes the teachers and I be on the same page a little more. It makes it easier for us to understand each other's strategies because we're working with the same framework.
Great, thank you very much.